Hello, good evening. Welcome to this edition of Good Evening Ghana. Thank you very much for your time. What a hectic week it's been, and a week full of political information from the NDC and the NPP. Tonight, though, we have an exclusive interview for you. The Honorable Kofi Buah has been a member, and he's also been the longest-serving energy minister at the ministry. He's been there for 8 years, and therefore he's the longest-serving minister in the whole of the Fourth Republican history. He sat down with us on Monday night and gave us an exclusive interview about the handing over notes he made to the MPP, and he talked us about things that have happened in the energy sector. We talked about Ameri, we talked about PDS, we talked about all the issues in the power sector, and also we talked about hardcore politics of 2020's election. Tonight, we'll be showing you a full coverage of that interview, and that's coming up as our main menu for tonight's edition of Good Evening Ghana. Some of you may have already seen the promo. Responsibility to pay tribute to the legendary founder of Data Bank and Enterprise Insurance, the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, who is Minister of Finance. Ken turned 60 years old today. So by civil service rules, he would have retired, but his appointment is a political appointment under Article 78. Congratulations, Mr. Finance Minister. Happy birthday to you. Here are a few photographs of what occurred this morning in Ken's house. There you see the photograph. It is the most affable Joe, and next to him, of course, the unmistakable smile of our friend Adom-Otchere. And then appearance of the Minister for Finance and Economic Planning, Ken Ofori-Atta, and next to him is the President's brother, Mr. Edward Akufo-Addo, and of course the indefatigable Nana Poku is the last one over there. And here is the rich president, rich in swag, President Akufo-Addo in his dark glasses, with his nice socks and shoes and beautiful trousers. Ghanaian wear, sitting in the couch with Ken Ofori-Atta this morning. I believe this was in Ken Ofori-Atta's residence. We went to wish him a very happy birthday. And hey, there you go, the commanding papa, the Archbishop of the century, His Eminence Nicholas Duncan Williams. In the center there to his right is the beautiful Angela Ofori-Atta, the missus to Ken. They say that behind every strong man there is a woman. Angela is undoubtedly a very strong woman. Dr. Angela Ofori-Atta. There is the very impressive First Lady seated over there, the Honorable First Lady of the Republic, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, Angela Ofori-Atta. So these are a few of the photos that was captured in Ken Ofori-Atta's house. There's Edward Akufo-Addo in a chat with Joe Ofori-Atta, and in the extreme background is Adom-Otchere. Happy birthday to Ken Ofori-Atta, 60 years old as the Minister of Finance. He probably came into the job then at age 58. And Ken is also a successful investment banker. He is a World Economic Forum global leader, and he founded Data Bank with Kelly Gajekpo, who is currently the Chief Executive of Enterprise Insurance and also the Chairman of ECG. It was a celebration for all the friends of and we join in that celebration to congratulate the Honorable Finance Minister. Today is his 60th milestone. May he live to be another 60, and when he is 120 years old, may Ghana be the most on earth. God bless you, Ken Ofori-Atta. Many happy returns. Now we go straight to our interview, and it is with the Honorable Kofi Buah, who had some very strong words for Ken Ofori-Atta, by the way. That's in the PDS. An interview that I'm sure you'll see and enjoy. Send your messages to Good Evening Ghana. Enjoy. Honorable Minister, so tell us the state of affairs. Well, by the time you were leaving as Energy Minister, you had been there for 8 solid years. What was the state of affairs?
Great. The NDC took over from ground zero, especially the upstream sector. And
upstream means what? We have to understand.
The oil sector.
Okay.
Oil and gas sector.
Okay.
Remember that we had discovered oil, nothing had been done. A decision had been made that we go fast-track development. So we get in, we realized that we needed to quickly put a lot of structures in place. And so we worked overtime to make sure we established certain institutions. When we look back, how do we establish a regulator? We establish the Petroleum Commission. We make sure we pass certain critical legal framework that will guide the industry. How do we make sure, for example, that when the oil is produced, revenue is managed transparently by the people of Ghana? We pass Revenue Management Act to make sure the people of Ghana, you hear PIAC probing into how government has spent money. That is the NDC's handiwork. We ask the question, how do we ensure that the people of Ghana, as quickly as possible, will be in the forefront of the industry against a lot of opposition from the major oil companies? We pass the local content LI, and the verdict on the local content LI Commission report. Within 5 years, $1.2 billion of contracts that would otherwise have gone to foreigners have gone to indigenous Ghanaians. Joint venture between Ghanaians and foreigners, $5.7 billion according to Petroleum Commission. That is a cause that was good fighting for. We also made sure that we establish...
Let me get that data right. So you're saying that because of the local content law that you passed, which means that...
What it does is that by law, we say that don't tell us that Ghanaian doesn't have expertise. There are certain contracts. 10% service contract must go to Ghanaians. And you have to find a way to get them to participate. And think about it. We are bringing a project that is $1 billion. And if we don't put these measures, it means that the following to do the FPSO of 1.3 billion in Singapore and do all these major contracts, the feed, the Christmas. We force their hands to ensure that they will break up contracts and allow Ghanaians to participate. And today you see a lot of Ghanaians in the industry participating because it was guided by a law that John Mahama and the NDC fought for. And so So
Petroleum Commission says $1.2 billion of contracts representing the local content portions.
That's correct.
Have been awarded.
Indigenous Ghanaians. This is different from the joint venture partnership.
Okay, so the indigenous Ghanaians have earned this money from the oil sector.
That's correct, in terms of contract.
You were able to put a local
content act. And then 5.7 billion.
And these are real Ghanaians, not I get the contract and give it to a Lebanese person.
And that's very
Did you ensure that I get the contract I execute?
And this is so important to me. We made sure that, for example, stream sector, when we're talking about blocks, we say the limit should be 5%, because we are talking about capacity here, and whether or not Ghanaians will have enough money to invest. So we were not interested in just bringing Ghanaians for Ghanaians' sake. How do we empower Ghanaians who are seriously interested in becoming big businessmen, and there's a cascading effect to other Ghanaians? And that's exactly the impact. Now, NDC, when we were leaving office, had a booming petroleum industry. And remember, 3 major developments: FPSO Kruma, FPSO Atamels, FPSO Kufuor. In fact, the last FPSO we worked on, if you remember, the first week that President Akufo-Addo came into office, in fact, he dispatched Mrs. Akufo-Addo to Singapore for the ceremony to bring the FPSO. Basically, what tells you is that we have finished. And what is interesting is that that 3 producing field has changed the dynamics. And this is the data you can check for the whole 8 years of NDC. This is the impact of that work. The total revenue in terms of oil that we receive, it is projected that for 4 years, because of the increased oil production and gas production, because of the hard work we put in, and don't take my word for it, take the work of the finance minister in the budget in 2017. This government, led by President Akufo-Addo, is projected to get $10 billion in revenue in oil. And that is what the NDC did. We were more interested in making sure we move from simply oil by monetizing our gas. We brought a policy that says that we will not flare gas anymore. And people doubted it. And what did we do? We monetized our gas. We built a plant And for the first time, we stopped going to form a long queue in Nigeria. We started producing gas. Atuabo gas started flowing. And you know also cut our import of LPG by 50%.
50%.
That's correct.
So 50% of LPG that we use in our domestic endeavors is produced in Ghana.
It's produced in Ghana today, supplying major regions, Ashanti, Western, Central region, all relying on Atuabo. The impact is amazing, and in the meantime, we had 21 new discoveries within that period.
But you attribute the new discoveries also to the political leadership, the NDC?
Oh, I think it is.
That's a natural resource that, so that you will attribute the original discovery to MPP, if you are going to attribute the 20.
The MPP did a discovery in 2007.
Yes.
That is correct. But I'm just telling you that was just one discovery. Okay? I'm saying that within a period, the NDC's record of discovery matched 21 new discoveries. That is undisputable, and we'll talk a lot about it.
Who were the team that put this together? In that 2009, who were the team? Yes, you were there. I'm assuming the longest.
Dr. Otchere was my minister. Blessed. The president, Adom-Otchere was the president. President Mahama was the vice president. And there was a fundamental question President Mills asked. He says, "How can we be different? What are the things that
when he put the team together?
What are the things that will make us different from other African countries who have discovered oil? I want us to look at Ghana in the next 40 years and say that this is a country that discovered oil, that puts systems and legal frameworks in place. And because of that, the people of Ghana, for example, today, if you see that our heritage fund 900 and over, it is because of the visionary leadership of President Mills and the then Vice President, President Mahama.
The guys at the GMPC at the time, what other agencies were there?
Oh, GMPC was the key, the Petroleum Commission. We later established the Petroleum Commission. And so it was really...
I think Adom-Otchere was chairman of the
Adom-Otchere became the chairman. Mr. Adom-Otchere was the original CEO when we started. A fantastic guy who was always very... I think the players were very diligent and patriotic Ghanaians. And you know, I saw that patriotism when the challenging issue of Côte d'Ivoire came in.
By the time you were exiting, we had that big issue.
We had this big...
That's
September 20...
How did this start, this dispute with Côte d'Ivoire?
Well, you remember that we had Côte d'Ivoire claim to our boundaries for years. And so we started a commission. We had almost more than 5 years. And we had not made a lot of progress because they had entrenched. But something critical happened. We were at the verge of producing our 10th field, in Tommy. Investor confidence in our industry was high. We had closed a deal that never happened in Africa, the Sankofa field by ENI. And all of a sudden, Côte d'Ivoire kept writing.
What was the deal of Sankofa about? Tell us.
The Sankofa, but let me make the point about Côte d'Ivoire. So Côte d'Ivoire now writes to Tallow that stop work. Those are our territory, the oil. And I remember vividly that we walked to President Mahama. I remember going there with the Marietta and the foreign minister, Hannah Tete. And this was the very time that I remembered President Mahama at his best. This is he was the best friend of Tala. In fact, they had a same middle name, Dramani.
President Ouattara, Alassane
his name is also Dramani Ouattara. And so they are brothers, really. But here was a very challenging situation. And President Mahama, I recall said something that I can never forget. How do we resolve this issue that in the end will bring peace and allow a resolution that will make sure that Côte d'Ivoire will still be intact? And I thought that was profound. he made that decision that, listen, we are going to the International Tribunal of the Law of the Sea. And we believe, if we believe in the strength of our case, we can never be worried. We are going to go there and prepare the case. And I'm very sure we'll win. And I think that will be a place Côte d'Ivoire and us will accept. And guess what? Throughout the process, that's when I became very proud being a Ghanaian. In the work from 2014 September, I saw lecturers, professors, Ghanaians who were experts around the world coming to us. We can help. I have this data here. Our preparation, the preparation that went to it was amazing.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. You got Ghanaians who were politicians, just
ordinary Ghanaians
just writing to you that we can
defend the territorial integrity of our republic.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And so, frankly, it is amazing. If I start giving credit, we won't finish here. But I was very proud of the leadership that was provided by President Mahama, because the stakes were too high. And remember,
you would have been
guaranteed almost 6 oil blocks. Has to tallow oil, to Erin, to so many oil companies, that this is our territory. Can you imagine the cost? You know, after we left power, case being determined. Let me say that the transition, you saw the professionalism within which the lead arbitrator, the person who led us, Marietta, worked with Gloria. I think it was made and to be recorded in history. Ghana did not only save 32,000 square kilometers of territory, but we saved $49 billion in oil in place. That is what we did.
The worth of the oil under the ground in the 10 fields
that is correct.
That was saved is $49 billion.
$49 billion, the projection of
GMPC's projection.
Yeah.
The value of
the value
is $49
but more
billion.
than anything is the territory we won. 32,000 square kilometers a day about. And I thought that if you look back, by President Mahama, leading to 2017 when he took over. And let me give him credit. I mean, when he came, he stood and told the position as a country. I thought that was very profound. Mm-hmm. But I can never forget that solemn decision that President Mahama, it cost him a little bit. Trust with Côte d'Ivoire, I know. But I'm sure that I think everybody will look back and say that this man took his oath seriously. Mm. I think it's one of the proud moments.
So that by the time you were leaving office in January 2017,
we had a robust, remember that
you were confident that you had come in as the longest serving minister in the ministry, 4 years as deputy, 4 years as minister, and you were confident that you had delivered your service to the Republic?
Oh, I think that I've always said that, you know, when you get a chance to serve the Ghana in that capacity, you wake up every day and thank God for the opportunity to serve. And
so are you now an energy expert?
Oh,
are you a petroleum expert?
If I was doing a PhD, I probably would have 2 PhDs. I spent 8 years in the energy sector. You understand?
PhD usually for 4 years. So
I spent a lot of time, and I work with fantastic people. I mean, amazing lawyers.
Is it a ministry that you would like?
Engineers.
Is it a ministry that you would like again in case that President Mahama were to win the next election?
I don't think that I want even. I mean, I think that you serve at the mercy of the president, and every opportunity to serve is something that you should do it and do it well. And I believe that's exactly what I did.
Do you remember any of the public servants there that you will?
If I start, I won't finish.
And they were great.
I can tell you from GMPC. Ministry, they were great, especially the fantastic legal team I had. You know what they said? They said, we are going to guide you and challenge you and make sure that when you leave this office, you can.
Oh, that's what the legal team told you?
That's what they told me.
They're going to guide you?
Yeah.
And they'll challenge you?
Yes.
To make sure that when you leave the ministry, you are fine?
I can sleep.
And that has happened? And
I made sure. And that's exactly what we did. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the work that we did. Vivian and the team, They were fantastic people.
One of the controversial issues from your ministry,
yes.
Never mind that you left, you say that you are proud of the work you did, but this issue of a contract between Ghana as an independent power producer,
yes,
and a company called Ameri,
yes,
which in 2015 your opponents used to tease you and tell each other that have an Merry Christmas for Merry Christmas. And it was rumored that the contract had been exaggerated and it was represented corruption and it in a big way. Fast after the election to 2015, Ameri was still part of the conversations about Ghana's energy sector. It is reported that Buah, the former minister and the original minister for the MPP energy, had lost his job on some analysis, some calculations he made about Ameri and brought a proposal to Parliament to have another look at the Ameri deal. Sitting at where you sit now as a member of Parliament, ranking member and former minister, how do you handle Ameri issue? Is it an albatross?
The whole Ameri issue tells you one thing. It says something about the truth. And it says something about people who do not mean anything they say. And it says that the truth will always stand in the end. Why did we bring Ameri in the first place? We were in crisis. The NDC basically came in the time President Mahama became president. You saw the crisis. There was a serious power crisis, and we needed to solve the problem and solve it immediately. We had devised a short-term and long-term strategy to address the problem. It was a serious crisis. There was no corner you could turn. The Kosombo had dried up. The hydro was gone. The thermal plants were all down. I mean, it was a problem. So one of the short-term measures was to bring fast-track power like Ameri and car power. You know, I remember I took a lonely journey to Turkey to meet the guys who ultimately brought car power. And I went and I brought a portrait of the ship. And when I finished, I was so fantastic. That night I was sleeping, I was holding my ship. And I remember at 5 a.m. I was sitting in front of President Mohammed's house. And I said, we have a solution. This must come immediately. The point is that we were dying to find a solution to this power crisis. The result is very clear. By the time we left office, we had made 1,800 megawatt. Inflation had gone to about 4,000 plus. We had brought short-term emergency power. But on terms of Ameri, what we did was simple. This is a guy that says, we're bringing you a plan for years. $510 million. We calculated, we saw the unit price, the tariff, PURC supported, and that was a great deal. 5 years, this plant will revert to us. We'll
5 years, the plant. How many megawatts was it given? 250 megawatts.
Now, so
we should have finished paying 510 million in 5 years.
That's correct, about 800 and something a week or so. And we were capable of doing it. But this is the story. The MPP used that they padded the deal, 150 million. Remember when they came to power? They went Rambo style, ransacked some of our colleagues' houses one morning. Honorable Tonko, Gina Paul, they went ransacking, and it was headline, Ameri. What? In the end, all the investigation says that there's nothing untoward there. It was a genuine contract, nothing was padded. It was untruth that there was anything there. But what was worse, and this we will not forget in 2020, the people of Ghana, this is where it began to become clear that these people who have been claiming that they are coming to clean the system are the ones who have come to really corrupt the system. And
why do you say
what did they do? These guys who have used the American election come in and woke up one morning, there's something called no agreement. And they bring it to Parliament. Remember, we had paid half of the cost of the plan. We were left with about 255 million for the plan to revert to the state. Suddenly, the new agreement, they brought a new middleman called Metillonius Company. And this company is now, they've extended the contract for 15 years. And we're going to pay $1 billion. What is worse is that the President of the Republic, without the due diligence, the financial due diligence of the Minister of Finance and the legal due diligence of the Attorney General gave executive approval.
Did he?
Of course he did.
The document that came to Parliament said the
it
president...
was very clear. I mean, I say things on facts.
Yeah.
It came to Parliament, we have the documents. And then the alarm started to blow. The people of Ghana were outraged. It doesn't make sense to anybody. How? 2.5 years for a plan to revert to us, 255 million. Now you say we should pay 1 billion plus.
At the same 250 generation capacity?
That is correct. And they kept using all sorts of excuses. The tariff will reduce, and I mean, gibberish or English. When it became very clear that we were about to be duped, and the president realized that he couldn't take himself out, you know what he did?
No.
That's the first time we saw that the president was vulnerable here. The president now says that he was misled. And then one bright afternoon, he fired his energy minister and made him the fall guy. But the people of Ghana cannot forget what happened. A well-orchestrated attempt to dupe the Republic of Ghana.
By the former Minister of Energy. That's
but
allegation.
For the vigilance,
allegation you are making is that this alleged duping
the fact
was to be conducted by the former Minister of Energy.
But for the diligence of the people of Ghana and the minority in Parliament, remember the press conferences at the time. And that is the record. The people of Ghana cannot forget that. You see, these are the things that we are going to remind the people of Ghana of. And they said the president was misled. What happened? Mr. Jakun was fired. It was all boxed up again. Now, if you look at Ameri and you look at what has happened with PDS, you will say that they are twins.